China is going to build the biggest dam on the planet across river Brahmaputra in Tibet. Geopolitical experts and diplomatic experts say China is also actually trying to weaponize water and not just generate huge quantities of power or to use the water to irrigate the barren land of North China. Meanwhile, India is actually not surprised at this move. India also has taken precautions. In the downstream Arunachal Pradesh, India is planning a string of dams across river Brahmaputra. So in case China tries to flood India with suddenly opening the shutters of their huge dam, those floodwaters will be collected in the downstream dams of India. That is India's plan to counter China's biggest dam in the world. I think there is another ulterior motive also for China, which is China actually wants to evacuate hundreds of thousands of ethnic Tibetans from the area where they propose to build a dam. So they want to reduce the number of Tibetans, and so that the number of ethnic Han Chinese will increase. And China wants to obliterate any possibility of an uprising in Tibet in the future. Anyway, it seems that it's not just irrigation of or generation of power as China claims. Let's get to the bottom of the whole issue. Welcome to Insights. This is Hari Kumar. Recently, China announced that the country is going ahead with the plan to build the biggest dam on earth in Tibet across river Brahmaputra. The scale of the dam will surprise everyone. You know, China expects to generate 60,000 megawatts of power from this dam, this hydel project. And the amount China wants to spend to build this dam is a whopping 137 billion US dollars. Now you can imagine the scale of the dam. Even now, China has the biggest dam in the world, which is the Three Gorges Dam. But the power generation capacity of Three Gorges Dam is, less than between 20,000, between 15,000 and 20,000 megawatts. So you could imagine the size of the upcoming dam. And ecological experts say this is going to adversely affect the fragile ecosystem of Himalayas. Already Himalayas is prone to landslides, then, avalanche. So a new dam of this magnitude coming up in Tibet may perhaps destroy the entire ecosystem of Tibet. But who cares? China is actually not bothered about what is going to happen in Tibet. As I said earlier, China wants to evacuate ethnic Tibetans also. Already they are moving ethnic Tibetans out and bringing in Han Chinese, so that at a future point, Tibet will be a Han Chinese majority state like any other state in China. So China has many motives. Some of the experts think that China is actually targeting India. Because, in case a war happens between China and India, China can open the floodgates of the new dam, and that is going to flood the entire northeast India, especially Arunachal Pradesh. Now let's check the river. The river, actually, the origin of the river is actually in Manasa Sarovar region in China, which is near the Mount Kailash. And in China, the river is called Sangpo. It flows downstream. It enters Arunachal Pradesh, where it is called Sanma. Then it enters Assam, and finally it enters Bangladesh. And it falls into Bay of Bengal there, where it joins with the river Ganges also. So this is the route of river Brahmaputra. River Brahmaputra, is famous for the enormous quantity of water it carries. According to certain statistics, in China, the amount of water that flows through river Brahmaputra a second is around 5 lakh cubic meters. But in India, it is said to be much more. So, one point I want to make is that if China wants to deny water to India or reduce the amount of water that India gets, I think that is unlikely to work, because the majority of water that flows through Brahmaputra comes from the tributaries whose catchment area is in India, and it falls into river Brahmaputra in India, that is in Arunachal Pradesh. So I think China also knows that very well. China takes decisions after deep studies. Perhaps the aim of China is more targeting ethnic Tibetans, and of course they can trouble India also. But India is planning a string of dams downstream in Arunachal Pradesh. So in case China opens the floodgates and tries to flood northeast India, India can store those incoming floodwaters in the string of dams that are going to come up in Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this is how India wants to checkmate China. But Bangladesh is going to face a real problem, because when two titans clash, a small country like Bangladesh will not be able to do much. But in the present situation, when a fascist government is ruling Bangladesh, I mean a government which is not elected, Muhammad Yunus is actually silent. He turns a blind eye towards China. Perhaps he is too weak to look at China. And eventually Bangladesh is going to suffer. But who cares? When India and China clash, China is not bothered about Bangladesh, and in the coming days also, India also won't be bothered much. So actually the victim is going to be Bangladesh. Let them take up their cause. If they cannot utter a word, if they cannot defend themselves, then who else can help them? This is the situation. But everybody will be surprised by the scale of the dam. This is what surprises the whole world, And this is going to help China in a great way to irrigate the barren northern China. Southern China has got adequate water for irrigation, but northern China, where big cities like Beijing are situated, doesn't have enough water to irrigate and for other purposes. So definitely this is going to help northern China. And another important factor is, China never bothers about what is going to happen to ecology. China has already done that. There is an example. That is why I said, what happened to the great Mekong River that arises from China, flows through Laos, Thailand, then Cambodia, Vietnam, etc. That Mekong River is a pale shadow of its former self now. The riverine communities that used to find their livelihood from Mekong River are languishing at present, because the whole ecosystem has been destroyed by China constructing a huge dam upstream. It is several reports say Mekong River flows like a stream in many parts of Southeast Asia. This is a sad situation, but China is so big that nobody dares to raise their voice against China. And I'm sure that this is not going to be the situation when it comes to Brahmaputra, because, as I said, the majority of the huge quantity of water enters Brahmaputra not in the upstream China or from the catchment area, but from downstream, but from the tributaries downstream that join Brahmaputra in India. And India is also going to build huge dams. But anyway, let's hope that the fragile ecosystem of Himalayas won't suffer because of this huge dam. Meet you with another topic next time. Till then, goodbye.